thanks for joining us, is one, we're going to try to invite the audience to want to view the show. We need to tell them when the show is, and but why are they tuning in?
What we will say is you are waiting to explore the multi-dimensions of your mind, your body, your spirit, and the forgotten territory, the emotions.
The 4 tenets of the Sophist Speaks weekly.
Because I think to ask those questions, because I hear those daggone commercials all the time, you know, advertising for depression medication.
Really?
Yeah. And they are so disgusting because it makes the average person feel like it's something wrong with them if they ask the question.
What is the question?
The question is, or the questions are, why am I here? Do I feel alone sometimes, even in the midst of a crowd? What's life all about? The questions that any person who is truly seeking to know the depths of their being would ask. And I'm sure many of us ask at different points in our life, various different times.
I've seen those commercials, and I really didn't. It's like Propecia or something. It's a little round guy that bounces around.
Propecia is for hair replacement. But it is for a antidepressant. I've forgotten the name of it. It's not Prozac, but that's one of them.
Okay.
And yeah, the little round guy. And then they have these other ads for studies that are being done for people who are actually really spiritually waking up. But the society is going to capture them and put them on medication.
So what we're asking then is, if we would copy the commercial of the little round guy, do you feel like you don't fit in?
Are you worried that life is passing you by? Next question.
I don't know what the other questions are, but I don't know that life is passing me by.
Even saying, I don't know what the question I mean, what is the point to life? The questions go like, are you concerned about why you feel alone in the midst of a crowd? Do you wonder about your existence and why you're here? Do you often feel anxious and don't know why you're feeling so sensitive? These are questions that we can explore as we tune into mind, body, spirit, and emotion. But certainly these are things that everyone tunes into at some point or another in their life. And they're essential to our well-being as healthy, happy, wholesome human beings. If, in fact, we don't tune into these aspects of our being, then we become out of balance. And it seems as though the people that are pushing
pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals are trying to corral everyone into a category if they have questions that are just probing their lives, that are really questions that can improve their lives. As their spirit awakens, as their mind questions authority, as their emotions are being observed, either as being calm or overstimulated, and then, of course, the whole question of spirit and morality and religion, all of those issues, are things that the average person actually does ponder about from time to time throughout their day or throughout the week or what have you, depending on how preoccupied they are, and they may have some anxiety.
So, if I am to take the point of the viewer, it is not that I cannot feel whole or well if I am in a state of feeling alone in a crowd. That is just a physical acknowledgement of some other aspect of my being that is going on.
Or just a physical acknowledgement of the aspect of your being, period. I am that I am. I am in the midst of it, and yet I am separate and apart from it. That's being the microcosm of the macrocosm. Or, as in the Christian tradition, Yeshua or Jesus would have said, be in it, but not of it. You know, so there's so many ways in which we can look at a feeling, at a thought, at an experience. We don't have to have it pigeonholed into a particular category that, again, society seems to be trying to direct people into so that they can put them on behavior modification drugs. And thus, they will end up in mental institutions, on drugs, drinking, having a whole variety of problems that could have otherwise been avoided had they had the opportunity to explore some of these other alternative avenues that we're going to cover in the Sophist Speaks.
We've come into the middle of a conversation. This season's show will be geared around, we're going to continue what we've done in the past, in that we will talk about things of a deeper understanding, and we'll try to help one to incorporate the knowledge that we have accumulated over the years into practical application. One thing that I really want to concentrate on this season is wellness. And I say wellness instead of health, even though they are very similar, in that I want to try to give the viewer a more holistic integration into life and living. And as such, you know, our background shows mind, body, spirit, and emotion. And that's apropos to how we want to show that there are more than just one level of our understanding. There's more of an integration. Tassili Ma'at is my co-host. Hopefully you remember me from last season. The Sophist, just a teacher, just like any number of teachers that you'll meet along your journey. But we're going to have a Ma'at and a Sophist, Tassili and a Ma'at. So Tassili, everyone knows that the Sophist means, and you know, as you see by the graphic, the Sophist is a teacher, and we'll have the graphic. We'll add that in there later. But Tassili is actually a very interesting term. I haven't heard anyone named Tassili in my past. Possibly you could tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yes, thank you. Tassili was a name that was given to me, probably close to about 25, 26 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Back when you were 2.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was given by a Senegalese imam. He was a practitioner of Islam as well as of traditional African religion in that particular region. And he told me at that time that Tassili in present culture comes from an area in the southeastern part of Algeria known as Tassili Niger. And there the oldest known cave paintings and rock carvings are done. And at the time I was very much involved in art, painting and drawing and so on. And so he affirmed and acknowledged my being as a recorder of social happenings by giving me that name. Its more ancient meaning, it has its roots in Arabic, and it comes from a place of high spiritual attainment. And the contemporary meaning in Algeria right now means is a high standard and fine quality. So all of those are really very closely related, and it requires that I really strive to live up to it. You know? So I set high standards for myself, and I like to see the best in others.
Right.
You know.
Well, you know, my mother gave me a name, and I try to live up to that name, but the name has no meaning to me other than that my mother gave it to me. So as I have taken on the identifier of the Sophist, recognizing that I'm sure there are many other sophists out there that I have to identify with. Teaching is something that comes natural to everyone. It's just part of our sharing. And so to hear that you want to stand up to what your name means is really admirable. And I hope that you're doing a good job. Are you doing a good job?
Well, I think for the most part I am. I mean, you know, our word is really all we have, and ultimately everything else falls away. And even in acknowledging words sound power, we have to recognize that words become things if spoken enough. And in that, I really strive to be in alignment as much as possible with what I say and what I do. And I try to take it a step further and focus my mind. You know, try to corral my mind, which can go in a zillion different directions if I let it. You know, and try to have it be in alignment with the rest of my being. And then, you know, many times in organized religion and in psychology and in various different fields of study, people will negate the emotional body, or they'll look at it as if it's a negative thing to be done away with or suppressed, or to be seen as this evil force, you know, that sways us this way and that way. When in fact, the emotions are just a lower, if you will, form of our desire body. You know, they're part of our will. And when we have an understanding of our emotional body, and that it is affected by the way we think, it is affected by our spiritual consciousness, and it is affected by our physical well-being. They, in fact, have a more balanced emotional body and not allow our decisions and other aspects of our bodies to be just totally swayed by the emotions, or if it's appropriate, to be swayed by the emotions. Because everything, you know, is relative. So much depends on what is important in the now. Because how we deal with the present, many times, eventually affects what comes our way in the future.
Well, what my background of exposure has shown is that there is a lot of emphasis put on trying to live in the moment, and that there is no past, there is no future, there is only now. So, and I was just reading recently about the emotion as a form of energy that is a dense form of energy that is, the other term was, I can't think of the term right now, but Mayat comes to mind. I know that's not it, but a denser form of energy that one controls for the purpose of healing. And so by controlling one's emotion, one then facilitates health and the flow of well-being. And that falls right in line with when a person's emotions are out of whack, when you're stressed because of something going on at work, or your children running around acting like children, or someone in traffic trying to go faster than the traffic is allowing. And so their emotions, then their energy that is in motion, is, being that it is a dense energy, you know, it runs up against barriers to free flow. We have constricted our pipeline, you know, our vessel, and so therefore that thick emotion, that thick energy can't move through easily, and then the blockages are manifest as, you know, eczema. They're manifested as hair falling out. They're ulcers. Right.
Heart attacks, hypertension.
Right. High blood pressure, low blood pressure, on and on, because it is a cohesive system.
Right.
You know, our emotion is one form of energy. Our mind is another form of energy. Our body still another form of energy, and in a spirit, an additional form of energy. And all these then make up what we would hope at this level, the entire being that we're going to worry about on this show. And anyone that knows anything about the etheric body and the various other levels, they know that there's probably 12 above and 6 below.
Bodies,
right. So if we just concentrate on that 4, I think that's a good beginning.
Yeah, I agree, because those are the ones that people typically operate from anyway, and are aware of. And certainly they are all interrelated, and you touched on several really important things that I think we can focus on in this particular show as we, encourage you to ask questions, to go to our website, to tune in to hear the different teachers or sophists who will be sharing with you. We will perhaps be able to give you some tools that will help you to balance the emotions, that will help you to look at life from a different perspective, that will help you to involve your body in a way that it becomes a wholesome temple to house your mind and your emotions and your spirit. Because again, the body tends to be one of the things that is separated from, the mind and the spirit and the emotion, and it tends to be treated as if it has to be tamed or suppressed too. And in fact, if we believe in a superior force that created all of this, a divine intelligence, then certainly everything is essential to the well-being of the being itself, the being this time being a human being. And the body, in order to think properly, needs to be fed wholesome food. It needs to be exercised. Breathing, for example, just following deep patterns of rhythmic breathing can help one to be in quote-unquote control of their emotions and to direct their emotions. It can help one to have a more clear thought, and certainly allows you to be still and know that you are God. It allows you to tap into the spiritual aspect of your being. And breathing is a physical act, but it incorporates, the unconscious physical as well as the conscious physical. And, of all the things that we do, that's the one thing that if we stop doing, for more than a minute, then that's it. Period. You can stop eating for a while. You can stop drinking water for a while. You can even stop thinking for a while. Stop feeling for a while, but stop breathing. And see how long you last.
What came to me earlier today, actually in my reading, I was doing some research into the various modalities of health and energy healing and energy work. There's as many fingers on my hand, there are different terms used to describe the natural ability that we all have to become aware of ourselves and being aware of our interrelatedness to the universe. And some of the points that you're making, we always are in balance, whether we're eating good or we're eating bad. If we're eating, red meats raw and pig feet, and it does not matter. Or if we're vegetarians or we're, breatharians.
Yes.
I mean, we're always in balance. The universe is always in balance. It is your awareness of that balance. And, your balance may be way out of whack with, unity, and it may be way out of whack of free flow. But it's still in balance. So what we're speaking about when we're trying to get to a point of wellness, when we're trying to be holistic in our understanding of where we are, then we can shift our balance and shift our balance to a place that is more complete, so that all things are, in line with where we get the most benefit. I can be in balance in a way that I lose and Tassili gains. I could take my paycheck and give it to her every week. And
that would be nice.
Right. So who's in balance here? There's a balance. But am I really getting the benefit of that balance that is equal and comparable to the benefit that she's getting? Well, if I don't value money, and I value the joy that she shares with me when I give her my check every week, then that is a balance. I'm aware of it, and it flows. But if I despise giving her the check every week, then I'm building up a blockage. I'm hindering the flow of energy, and so now every week it becomes an issue that I give her the check.
Yeah, how many of us go through that? We're paying our bills and do it with resentment.
Right. The same thing happens with the other energies of life. The breath, as you say. The energy of breathing. If we're not breathing in rhythm with our environment.
And you were right when you said ma'at, as it pertains to the four elements and things coming into manifestation, because ma'at is rhythm. That's one of the aspects of ma'at, because energy, as we understand it in the physical realm, comes from light. Light. Well, energy produces light. Let me say it backwards. Energy produces light. Light produces heat. Heat produces heat waves or vibrations, vibrational frequencies, which are rhythmic patterns of energetic frequency. So they become what is true. They are relative truth because they may vary according to the pattern, but in and of themselves they have their own rhythm.
Right.
That rhythm thus then being their balance and thus being that particular truth. Now it is said that the one truth, which is simply that it or God or Allah, whatever, or whoever you decide to call that supreme force that governs us all, simply is. That is the ultimate truth. But everything else is viewed as being really a relative truth because it depends on who's looking at it and what the rhythmic frequency of that particular truth is that makes it real. So, yeah, at the point in which you become resentful in giving me your check, your truth is that you don't want to do it. And the truth is that you're sending out a negative or a discordant frequency that can be contrary to the harmonious frequency that your body has established for itself. Now, it can continue to receive those discordant frequencies so much that becomes a new rhythm, a new truth for your body to do, and it makes its adjustment, i.e. free radicals in the body, i.e. a tumor in the body, i.e. diabetes in the body.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's a truth, and yet it can be countered with another truth. A different truth can be, well, if I change my eating habits, then perhaps I can change the sugar amount that I take into my body, and then I don't have to have the rhythm of diabetes anymore. I can have the rhythm of harmony within my organs and body and be healthy. By the same token, I have to also think or realize that my thoughts have a lot to do with it, because what is moving me to even want sugar that much, to even crave sugar that much, to desire it, to have it, that I'm fiending for it, what is going on in that truth, in the rhythm of that truth, that makes me want it. And these are the things that, we will be exploring throughout the 13 weeks that will be with the various different sophists and looking into, and everyone will have to ask for themselves what moves and propels them to do the things that they do. But the show will give you an opportunity to have it as a catalyst so that you can do that in the privacy of your own thoughts. But during those times where you are feeling alone in the middle of a crowd, and during those times when you are pondering the meaning of life, those questions will be answered by you and really ultimately only you. We will assist you in that process.
Well, there's the other thing being the pharmaceutical companies want you to believe that you change your physiology with their input. And where are they getting the inputs? They're trying to extrapolate the essences of chemicals and plants in a way that allows them to always control one or maybe even two separate lymphatic systems or endocrine systems in your being without taking into consideration that there's a complete being. If I crave sugar, and is that because of a pancreatic discrepancy? Is that because of a something I understand about my body, and so therefore I need sugar to take care of that weakened, what do you call those, organs? Or is it because of patterning of my thoughts? Do I crave sugar because every commercial that I see on TV is talking about, super sugar crisp and, Snicker bar and Kool-Aid and am I creating an imbalance with my thought process, my mind changing my body's balance? Is my spirit changing my body balance? For what purpose is my emotion changing my body balance?